Hey, I'm Jake Hall. I'm a Lobo basketball guard, and this is episode 122 of the Talking Grammar podcast.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Jeff Grammer with the Albuquerque Journal, and this is episode 122 of the Talking Grammar podcast. Glad you're here watching, glad you're here listening, however you're here. Much appreciated that you've come along for the ride of covering Lobo basketball this season, the 2025-26 season. Today, got another player back on the episode, back on the show, and it is Jake Hall, true freshman Lobo shooting guard for the Lobos, who stepped in day one, and maybe we shouldn't have been surprised. He scored 3,000 points in high school and was a guy that right off the bat, first guy to come over in the Eric Olin tenure. When Eric Olin was hired, he was a commit to UC San Diego and Eric Olin there, and came over right when Eric got the job. Maybe we shouldn't have been surprised that he was ready from day one, because nobody within the program, the coaches, never did anything to diminish his role or suggest that maybe he wouldn't be ready from day one. So maybe we shouldn't be surprised, but there still seems to be a little bit of a surprise in that not only Jake, but like two other freshmen, three first-time college players are three of the leaders on this Lobo team. And in this era of college basketball, it's pretty surprising. So hear a lot about that from Jake today. Also got an interesting scouting report. I talked to Tom Tankelewicz, the assistant coach, who cheated a bit, as he says, and tapped into somebody else who knows Jake Hall very well. I always try and reach out to one person who knows that show's guest really well, and I think you guys are going to enjoy who Tank reached out to get us a little more insight into Jake Hall and answer a couple questions about him before we have him on the show, and that's coming up here in just a minute. If you enjoy this podcast, I hope you subscribe to the Albuquerque Journal if you can. First of all, subscribe however you're listening, or if you are watching here on the Journal's YouTube page, please hit the subscribe button. You can get all these episodes of the podcast as soon as they come out. You could also get all the post-game videos that I put out about Lobo basketball and all the content, all the video content that the Journal puts out. As for this episode, this is, like I said, Jake Hall. And if you guys like it, let me know. You can reach out to me on social media. You can email me anytime, grammer@abqjournal.com. And again, subscribe to these social media channels, to this podcast if you can, or to the Albuquerque Journal. Help support local journalism. abqjournal.com is /subscribe is where you can go to subscribe to our print edition, our digital edition, and all that stuff helps us continue to cover Lobo basketball the way we do, home and road. By going to Kansas City last week to cover the two Lobo basketball games, I was also close enough, about 2 hours and 20 minutes away from where they had the national championship for cross country. And episode 121 was a podcast I did with Tom Samuel, the now national champion UNM Lobo cross country runner. So that was great, and it's support from people like you, from readers and viewers and subscribers like you, that helps us devote the resources to do that. Remember, no other media outlet in New Mexico is devoting the resources to Lobo coverage like the Albuquerque Journal is. So appreciate you guys for coming along for the journey. First and foremost, let's get to that scouting report. Somebody who's going to give us a little bit of insight to today's guest, Jake Hall, and tapped into Lobo assistant coach Tom Tankelewicz for that scouting report. All right, Tank, how's it going, man? It's been a little while since you've been on this show, and I know I've seen you at games, but we haven't talked a whole lot. How's the season going for you so far, man?
Things are going well. I feel like we're progressing nicely, improving game by game, improving by practice. So I've enjoyed this group so far.
I know so far this the fan base has seen glimpses of like, oh, this is going to be fun, and then other glimpses of like, oh my gosh, what's going on? The sky is falling, which is probably not totally unique to fan bases everywhere, but it is a passionate bunch here in Albuquerque. What's your first month been like of sort of I guess experiencing the ups and downs of a passionate Lobo fan base?
Yeah, I mean, I've said this to you before, that expectation is embraced, right? It's obvious how much Albuquerque or New Mexico fans care about the success of our program and the product we're putting on the floor, and our staff cares about that as much as anything. So we want to put a good basketball product on the floor, something that Lobo fans can be proud of night in, night out, and hopefully we're trending in that direction.
All right, you got to do that. It's not pro sports. You're not swapping guys in the middle of the season. There's no trades, nothing like that. Your roster is what your roster is, and one guy who from day one has been a big part of that is Jake Hall. He's the guy that I am interviewing in today's on this episode, and from day one, for a true freshman to be as involved as he is, and from day one for you guys to basically have three freshmen. Now, one of them I get is a 23-year-old freshman, but three first-time college players in their first month of college basketball are big-time contributors to what this team is doing. That doesn't happen anymore in this era of college basketball. So the broader question, and then my three specific questions for Jake. Are you surprised at how much involvement three freshmen are having so far in this program?
No.
You know them all, right? I mean, you know these guys well.
Yeah, I mean, right. You take Jake and Uriah, for example. Jake specifically, we've been recruiting him since his sophomore year of high school. Uriah since the beginning of his junior year. So the sample size we have of those two guys in high school, AAU, having them on multiple visits to campus, both at UCSD and at New Mexico, right? We had a pretty good feeling of the players they are and then what they could eventually become. And then Tomislav obviously has a sample size of playing in Europe for an extended period of time, being able to watch what he did, knowing some of the people around him. We had a pretty good feeling like, hey, he's going to be able to replicate some of the things that he did in Europe for a few years.
I know Eric actually said just earlier today, as we record this on Tuesday, he was getting asked a bunch of freshman questions and basically said, look, everybody's new to us. So it's not like we sit around thinking about, wow, these are freshmen or these are big minutes for freshmen. To you guys, this is a roster of, I guess with the exception of what Chris and Milos, these are guys you guys have not coached before. And so they're all kind of in the same boat in that regard. There's no reason to think of these are only freshmen, let's limit their minutes or their role. Like it's in some ways it might have made things a little bit easier for freshmen to, I think, jump into a situation right away when there wasn't a pecking order on this roster. Everybody came together at the same time, and they might have different ages, but like nobody had roles really specified when they all got here. So they all got to work and earn what they got.
For sure. And I think you can see that there's still a figuring out process.
Sure.
With roles and rotations this early in the season. And certainly we have a sample size from practice that started mid-June till now, but the game sample size is still quite small and we're still figuring it out. But guys are still competing for roles and places in the rotation day by day.
Sure. All right, Jake specifically, let's get to it. Jake is a guy that you see a high school kid coming in with 3,000 points. You shouldn't be surprised that he can score a little bit at the college level too. But, there were questions. Like, I don't know how highly recruited he was, and I don't know if that was because he committed to you guys so early and people backed off, or if there was another reason for it. But he wasn't, I guess, getting recruited by big power conference schools that I'm aware of. And now he might have been to a certain extent, but not with the relationship he had with you guys. So I know that you guys trusted him from the start and you got to know him from the start, of the sophomore year, like you said. So what is it that everybody knows? Like once they get to know Jake Hall, what's one thing that everybody's going to know about Jake once they get to know him?
Yeah, I think it starts right when we started that recruiting process. When he was young, he was shy, reserved. And then the more you get to know him, and I think Lobo fans will experience this as well, he's a funny dude. Like he's somebody that you enjoy being around. He's able to bring some levity to situations. His teammates really enjoy him. So I think that's kind of the evolution of Jake Hall. Like once he starts to trust you and he's around you enough, his real personality really starts to shine through. And he's a really funny person once you get to know him.
So the three questions, that's one that I always ask people for these scouting reports, for these shows. The next question is when you do get to know him and you know him really well, what's one thing that almost nobody knows about him? I mean, Lobo fans are just getting to know these guys, but what's one thing that even if they did know him really well already, they might not quite know? Is there Is there any insight you can give us to something that maybe even people that know him fairly well might not know about Jake?
Yeah, so I cheated a little bit on this, to be quite honest. I called Jake's younger brother Dax.
Nice.
Who's a senior in high school back in San Diego. And he gave me some insight that we knew about a little bit as a staff, but maybe not to the extent. Apparently, Jake was a nationally ranked surfer as a young kid.
Wow.
Surfer, skateboarder, very SoCal, and was in like surfing competitions. And
he looks the part.
Yeah, and it gets better. Apparently, he had bleached blonde hair when he was in those competitions. So very Southern California. And apparently this all came about prior to Jake falling in love with basketball.
This is why I do this little segment of this podcast is younger brothers feeding the assistant coach the real good stuff. This is it right here.
I may have to send you a picture once we get off air.
I will gladly take it if you got a picture. I mean this and I think like Dayton's brother I had on doing this when I had Dayton on, and he said that Dayton was awful at the trumpet. This is the good stuff. Like basketball's fine, we can talk basketball, but man, this is the good stuff. What do you think his teammates are going to think about when they hear that he wasn't just he didn't just surf some, like he was a like you said, a bleach blonde kind of surfing, competitive surfer and skateboarder. What do you think his teammates are going to think of that?
I think some of them be surprised that maybe didn't grow up in Southern California, but the guys that kind of understand that culture a little bit.
It's part of the culture, right?
Understanding of it. But the guys that didn't grow up in that type of culture, I think they'd be surprised because Jake is very focused on basketball and works his tail off every day. So seeing a different side of him, or hearing about a different side of him, could be surprising.
All right, I went to high school in Alamogordo, which is right next to White Sands down in southern New Mexico, and he's going to have to go out there, and on the dunes there, you can sandboard down the dunes. And
I've seen some videos of that. It looks pretty cool.
We'll have to figure out how good of a sandboarder he is. All right, the third question is, like, obviously you know him well, and you get to see him every day. You can ask him anything you want anytime, but in this setting, in a podcast setting, if you were actually interviewing Jake, what would one thing that would either you'd want to ask him because you're obviously just naturally curious, you don't know the answer to, or something you may know the answer to that just might give us some insight? What would you ask Jake if you were giving him an interview?
Yeah, well, again, I cheated on this one by talking to Dax, but he said make sure you ask him, when did he realize he was the second best golfer in his own family?
I like it. I've heard golf stories.
Apparently there's some trash talking, and it gets pretty dang competitive on that golf course. So,
all right. So let me ask you this: should I preface all this with the fact that you spoke with Dax, or should I just ask him that with him not knowing who fed that information to me?
I think you could preface it with Dax. I think Jake's
know, though, right?
Man, he'll connect the dots.
He'll know even if I didn't, right? Okay,
for sure.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, I appreciate this. Look, season's rolling along right now. I think you guys had a good week last week. I think you guys got a lot out of Kansas City. So I don't know what you guys as coaches, you guys try and take it game by game and not look at the outside stuff and all that. From the outside perspective, I think, it just looks like an experience in Kansas City that I think you guys gained an awful lot of, and hopefully from the basketball side of things too. I guess we'll see. All right, starting tomorrow night, you guys have next test is next game up kind of mentality, I guess, huh?
For sure. Great learning experience in Kansas City, and hopefully we can build on some of the success we had in the last three halves of that tournament. And, we'll see what tomorrow night brings.
All right, there you go. Thanks, Tank. Tom Tankelewicz, Lobo men's basketball assistant coach, for helping us get to know Jake Hall just a little bit better. And thanks for Dax and Jake Hall's little brother for giving us a little bit of added insight to Jake Hall, to today's guest. I think you guys are going to enjoy Jake's reaction to some of those answers that Dax gave through Tank. So hope you guys enjoy it. Let's get right to it. It's time for Jake Hall, today's guest on episode 122 of the Talking Grammar podcast. Jake's a true freshman shooting guard, averaging double-figure scoring as of the recording of this show on November 25th, Tuesday, November 25th, UNM is the only Division I basketball team to have 3 freshmen averaging double-figure scoring. That's Tomislav Buljan, Jake Hall, and Uriah Tenet. The only Division I team in the country with 3 freshmen averaging double figures in scoring. So Jake Hall's one of them. Let's hear from Jake Hall. Here's my conversation with Lobo freshman shooting guard Jake Hall. Jake, let's get to it, man. You guys just got back from Kansas City. You guys have a game tomorrow as we record this. For people that don't know, this is Tuesday that we're recording this, but you guys got a game tomorrow with Alabama State back in the pit, and just coming back from Kansas City. I want to start with Kansas City because it was an interesting 2 games, and I think in a lot of ways an educational kind of experience, I think, for the team. And you guys probably learned an awful lot basketball-wise and about yourselves a little bit. But rather than me putting words in your mouth, let me ask you what you got from the Kansas City experience. What did you take from your few days in Kansas City?
Yeah, I mean, it was a super cool experience, super good competition, just being able to play those types of teams and, getting those reps, especially for me, those Big 12 and SEC teams, you kind of look forward to playing those bigger teams. So I think obviously a disappointing start to the first game, but I think, we showed a lot of fans that kind of what we had. We, a lot of fight, a lot of competitiveness, and, no one wanted to go out like that. So, and then obviously getting the win the next day against, a pretty good Mississippi State team, I think, showed what we can really do, showed we can win on the glass, showed we could do a lot of things. And I think, overall it was a, good experience. Obviously wish we could go 2-0, but, it was fun.
I'm curious what you personally, as a player, you said that the reps were good for all of you guys. Obviously, you as a player, were you surprised? Were you, is it what you expected the way you personally performed against a couple of teams that obviously are recruiting at the highest level?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I always think I could play better. I definitely thought I could have played better in both of those games. Could have shot it better. But I think, definitely just as a team, getting a win, I think was a big thing. Really wanted to come out there with 2, but, it's all right. We'll take 1. So I think just keep learning, keep growing against those, bigger, more athletic teams, seeing what, myself and the team is really capable of. So I think, it was a good experience.
You've been asked this a dozen times already this season by us in the local media. But you're a true freshman and you're playing a big role on a team that has 2 other freshmen playing big roles at the Division I level right off the bat. It doesn't happen in this era of college basketball that often where true freshmen step in from day one. Now, one of you 3 is a 23-year-old freshman, but there are 3 first-time college players who are 3 of the biggest contributors to this Lobo roster. And I enjoy how you've answered some of this, but I'll ask you here for this podcast, are you surprised with your role from day one on this program?
I mean, not at all. I think this is the reason I came here and the reason I, trusted this coaching staff. And I think no, not really.
I know one thing you said was partly because you guys are all new, right? The entire roster was new. It wasn't like there was a pecking order when you got here. Mm-hmm. There are older guys, some people are natural leaders and kind of take those roles on right away. And you can see that Chris Howell obviously is somebody everyone kind of looks to see for guidance and certain things and all that. But for the most part, there's not a bunch of returning guys who already had starting roles and stuff like that. So it wasn't a case of, all right, freshmen, wait your turn. It was everybody's new. It kind of gave you guys a chance to, if there was going to be any hurdles to overcome, there weren't as big as normal. Although we don't know what normal is, right? This is the only college experience you've had. So, but do you feel that a little bit that all of you guys were new, so there was sort of equal footing from the start? Yeah,
for sure. I think that and just everybody came in with something to prove, which made the summer really competitive. And all our practices really competitive, which, was the most fun for me. So I think that definitely played a part, yeah.
you're a guy that scored 3,000 points in high school. I don't know if you know that or not, but if you didn't, let me tell you that you scored 3,000 points in high school. People shouldn't be surprised that you can score a little bit, that you can shoot it a little bit. But there does seem to be a little bit of surprise, and I've told you this when I asked you this. Like, I thought you were just a shooter, right? I didn't think you're going to be able to come in and play inside the arc very much, but obviously you've shown. You've got a little more to your game than just catch and shoot, right? So I'm curious how much of that is still sort of a little bit of a motivating factor that the guys like me and there's people in the stands that probably see Jake Hall and still think, oh, he's just a shooter. Is there still a little bit of motivation when you're in practice and stuff like that to show that you got a little bit more of an all-around game than people give you credit for?
Yeah, for sure. I think, I've been doubted my whole life, so I think, it's nothing new to me, but just wanting to prove everyone wrong, having a chip on my shoulder. Yeah, it's nothing new.
Are you now you are also a pretty good shooter. So I will ask, where are you in terms of your outside shot? Like, I've seen you miss a few open ones, and I'm curious if you are happy with how many good looks you've missed so far this year, because I know the first couple games I don't think you were that happy. Has it evened out a little bit, or are you still getting a little frustrated when you miss an open look? How frustrated are you still getting?
No, I mean, definitely frustrated. I mean, first and foremost, I hate missing. Whether it's open or not.
Sure.
And I think if I play, me and Coach Olin were talking yesterday about our catch and shoot rate or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I think if I play those 6 games again, I don't think there's any way I'm below 40%. It's just what happened. And I think just, continuing to trust your work and just knowing the next one will fall and, keeping a good shooter mentality. So, yeah.
Because there have been some open ones. And when I see you catch the ball and get it off without a really, really tight contest, I'm like, all right, that's going in, and sometimes it hasn't, and I'm like, I don't get it. So I imagine you, who has a whole lot more experience with you seeing that shot go in, it does sort of start. It can play with your mind a little bit, right? Like, how hard is it to trust the process and trust that, look, you've put in years now of that shot, and it's going to go down eventually, and not all of them go in. It just seems like you're kind of getting some of the misses out of the way now.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely hard to overcome, especially like Nebraska game, 3 wide open shots to start off the game. A game, we wanted to come out hot in. It sucks, but I think the coaching staff, does a great job of, keep instilling confidence in me to keep shooting. And, how that ended up hitting 6 of them, which I thought, could have easily been 10. But, it's definitely tough to keep trusting the process when you're missing some wide open ones, but I think, it'll all even out.
Well, it's funny to hear you say, like, I hit 6 of them, thought it could have easily been 10. Like, yeah, I mean, again, you're a true freshman. Like, true freshmen aren't supposed to be thinking in terms of, like, I thought I could have hit 10 of them and all that kind of stuff. But you're there. Like, you certainly aren't thinking in terms of being a freshman or waiting for your time. Like, this is your time. Yeah. And I am curious what you feel among your teammates, if anything, that you have to prove to them. I know there's the self thing, like you want to prove to yourself, like you're as good as the work you've put in and all that. There's a little bit of a chip on the shoulder to prove any doubters, like in the stands or whatever, wrong. But, like, is there anything you feel you have to prove to your teammates?
I think every day I want to prove to everyone that they can trust me in the big moments, trust me with the ball. But I think throughout the summer and all of our practices, I think I've kind of done my best to install that trust in them. And, I can feel it when I'm missing a couple shots and, they come over to me, tell me to keep shooting, shoot it every time. Just things like that, I think, gives me confidence in knowing my teammates got my back no matter what.
Well, yeah, I mean, the fact that this notion of, like, whether or not you've earned their respect, like, that was thrown out when I was talking to Dayton over a month ago, and he's telling me that you're winning Mountain West Freshman of the Year, and there's no reason for a senior guard from the Bahamas transferred from Utah State to have already been that bought in or that sold on this true freshman from California, unless he saw it every day in practice.
Yeah.
And I know again, something sort of you have been asked before, but what did you think when you heard things like Dayton saying that about you? And obviously, I think you knew the coaching staff had a lot of confidence in you. But when you hear someone like a senior like Dayton kind of say stuff like, it's not just like they're saying in practice or in the locker room that they have confidence in me. He had no reason to bring that up. He brought it up on his own. And what do you think when you hear that vote of confidence from some of the older guys?
Yeah, I mean, Dane's a great player, a great leader, and he's been around college basketball a lot. So I think just hearing that from him just gives me another level of confidence, and being able for people to see like what I already believe in myself. Like I know I can win freshman of the year or whatever it is, and just seeing teammates believing that too, I think goes a long way.
You might be in competition with two of your teammates, though. That's the issue. Is you might be Uriah and Tomislav are going to be two of your biggest competition guys. I will ask one more freshman thing, and it is about Tomislav. Like, what is it like knowing that you got this 23-year-old freshman in? Because there are some people starting to like, wow, he just won freshman of the week in the Mountain West, but he's 23 and this and that. Like, what do you think about this 23-year-old freshman? Is he just like one of you, like you and Uriah, like walking around campus like a freshman, or is he like one of the old guys?
Yeah, I mean he's in freshman classes, so I think he walks. He
walking the same walk you guys are, right? You guys are doing the same freshman walk around campus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. But I think at the end of the day, none of these awards matter. Nobody cares if he's a freshman or not. We just want to win games. At the end of the day.
What's it like playing with a lot of international flair on this team, right? A lot of guys from different places. What's that been like for you?
Yeah, no, it's been really cool. I mean, Tom, Tomeo, Da, Milos. I mean, those are all great players. Just being able to play with them and just get experiences from them, hear what they have to say. It's really cool, and they definitely play. There's two different brands of basketball. Like they bring their own style of basketball here, and I think it's really cool to see and learn from. And then they got great advice too. So I think just everything.
All right, you are a freshman in college. Forget the basketball side of things. How are you adapting to Albuquerque? How are you adapting to being a college student?
Yeah, it's been great. I got a bunch of classes with my teammates, so that's been really fun. And it's been cool. I've been getting used to it, but I think the biggest adjustment for me was probably just the schedule. I would have to say I had a pretty easy high school schedule, so I think coming from workouts and lifts, and then having to go to class and then come back and getting extra shots up, I think that was probably just the biggest adjustment. But it's been smooth so far, and yeah.
You guys are, I guess, some big games obviously in the pit coming up, and one more tough road game in non-conference with at VCU. But for the most part, Mountain West is already just around the corner. Do you pay attention to the Mountain West much at all, or are you just sort of really focused in on what you're doing? I'm curious how much you know right now about the Mountain West.
Yeah, I mean, I love watching college basketball, so I try to keep up with it as much as I can. But yeah.
This is a league that appears to be, probably more wide open than people would have thought going in, for good reasons and bad reasons. The bad reasons is the league seems to be struggling just a little bit, but that also opens the door to maybe there isn't the runaway favorite like there was in a San Diego State or something like that. But where you guys are at, I'm curious. Are you? What's the confidence level in the Lobos right now in that locker room? Do you guys still? I don't know how often you talk about it, but do you guys still feel like you can compete for a championship in the Mountain West?
Yeah, for sure. I think, we're just scratching the surface of where we want to be as a team. And, we're getting better every day. And I think, obviously, keep on playing together, it's going to come. We're all super excited. We know we're nowhere where we want to be. And, we know we can get there. We just got to keep putting the work in every day. And, we can see our team making good strides. So, I think just continuing to, trust that work and trust the coaching staff.
Have you had a moment yet where you've been in a game where you're you see one of your teammates do something that just kind of shocked you, or were all those moments just in practice or something like that, and you're not really that shocked in the game? Or have you had one of those moments in a game yet where you're just wow, that this is a different level than the high school level, that's for sure? Or maybe it's just the atmosphere, right? In the pit and the New Mexico the New Mexico State game. Like it might just be something like that, but I'm curious if you've had sort of that moment where you're like, wow, this is different.
Yeah. I wouldn't say, a moment that I was like, oh, wow, this is different. But I think, playing in super fun environments at New Mexico State. But, I'd have to say my favorite play of the year so far is Chris Howell dunk. That was pretty electric.
You got to tell me what the locker room was like afterwards, or what the film session was like when you guys watched it.
Yeah. No, that was a really cool moment. Obviously, we were going on a little bit of run, and that was just super cool for Chris. But we were all a little surprised. I'll say that.
Did when you guys were watching it on film, did you guys even have to break it down in slow motion at all, or was it just already enough in slow motion that that you guys didn't even have to break it down?
Yeah, we broke it down in slow motion. I think the funniest part of the play might have been the help side defense number 12 was playing. If you go rewatch that clip, he's totally turned around in the corner. So that might have been more funnier than the dunk. But
well, that's awesome. And obviously Chris is a huge part of this team for a lot of reasons. I know there are still some people that want to just see it from the scoring standpoint, and that's not what he brings necessarily. He brings a whole lot of things. But even moments like that where you guys in the locker room are just having fun and bonding because of moments like that is one of the things that he brings. Can you tell me about playing with a guy like Chris?
Man, Chris is great to play with. I mean, first and foremost, he's outstanding leader. He does a great job leading this team, and he's a very gifted passer. He sees angles and passes, that not everyone sees. Like sometimes in practice, I'll be open, skip across the court, and I'm like, no way this guy sees me. And then he just finds an angle and whips it over to me for a shot. I mean, yeah, it's just incredible playing with him. Great teammate. He's a great person too. So yeah, it's been fun.
He's got old man game. And that's not an insult. Like he's got like the ways that you can find angles and the ways that you can find, like some coaches say you got to win in the margins, right? And like he finds the ways to like win in those areas of the game that like you just kind of have to have a little bit of basketball IQ and you got to know ball. Like he finds ways to make plays with like those areas of the game, unlike a lot of players. I mean, he does find ways to do it in ways that the super athletic player isn't always going to win that matchup because he does that. Mm-hmm. Do you see him doing stuff like that in practice sometimes too, or does he save most of it for the games? Does he even practice it, or is he getting the old man treatment where he doesn't have to practice much?
Nah, he definitely practices. He practices every day. Yeah. But we definitely see some stuff in practice that you're like, oh wow,
Yeah.
But it's cool.
How are him and Mikey in practice? Do they ever go at it? They're pretty competitive?
Not really, but sometimes when Mikey plays and he turns it over, Chris will say a little something to him.
Nice. Yeah. All right, man. Well, sometimes brothers can get that way, and can have a little sibling rivalry, a little bit of chatter. One thing I do on this on these podcasts now is if I can get a scouting report on someone, I always try and get a scouting report, and I talk to somebody who knows them a lot better than I. So seems like a good time to bring up the scouting report. And I was talking with Tank right before I was talking with you, and Tank helped me out. I asked the same 3 questions, formatted a little differently sometimes, but I asked the same 3 questions pretty much in all these podcasts, and it is about you. I ask like, what's one thing everybody knows about him? Like they get to know Jake Hall. One thing everything is going to say about him when they first get to know him, this is one thing everybody would probably agree on. And Tank tells me he just thinks, when he started recruiting you sophomore year, like start off really shy a little bit, quiet anyway, maybe not shy, but quiet, reserved. But once you start trusting people, like he says you're a pretty funny dude. Do you open up a little bit more once you start to get to know people?
Yeah, definitely. I think, at first I can definitely come across as, quiet and shy, but when I get to know people, yeah, I definitely come out of my bubble a little bit.
Are you a funny guy? Or are you just like, are you one of the funnier guys, or do you think you're one of the funnier guys and maybe aren't, but like you joke around? Do you talk a little trash on the court? What do you do when you open up and when you start trusting guys like in your locker room? How is opening up? Is it just joking?
Yeah, just joking around, talking smack here and there. I think, this locker room, we got some characters on this team. I think, it is a really cool group of people, and, I just super excited to know them and, be here.
Who's the funniest guy on the team?
Man, we got a few. I'd have to say Javis.
Javis?
Javis. Yeah.
And, okay, well, who thinks they're the funniest guy on the team, but it really isn't?
Ooh, that's hard. Maybe.
Well, sometimes that's a coach, man. Sometimes coaches think they're funny. I don't know if you got a coach that always cracks jokes that really aren't that funny.
I mean, I would probably say Javis too.
Okay, so he is the funniest, but he also probably thinks he's even more funny than he is sometimes.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
Sometimes it's all about the way you carry yourself, man. Like he's got that confidence, right?
Yeah.
All right. Second question I ask everybody is, okay, as well as you know him better than I do, and you know him better than people probably watching this podcast, getting to know Jake. What's one thing that almost nobody knows about Jake? And this is where Tank, let me know. And I don't know if you already know these. I don't know if you were in there when Tank was telling me this or not, but sounds like maybe you were not just surfed a little bit, but were a competitive surfer, a competitive skateboarder, maybe, just maybe even had some bleach blonde hair when you were younger. And before you were really just all in on basketball, you were a competitive surfer. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, that is true.
What ages are we talking about?
Man, young, maybe like 9 to 12.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty good. I mean, you're competitive. Like I imagine you were at least decent, right?
Yeah, I mean, I love to surf. I grew up in basically 5 minutes from the beach, so I think it's bound to happen.
I'm curious now if you took the whole roster out. Like I saw I saw Eric Musselman, USC. They're out at the Maui Invitational. I actually saw a clip of him taking his team out surfing the other day. You take this roster of Lobos out surfing right now. You had to. You'd be fine. You'd know how to surf, but like, how bad would some of these guys be at surfing?
Terrible.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them could stand up on a surfboard.
You don't think any of them?
I don't think any of them.
Well, some of the California guys probably have done it.
Yeah, like maybe Luke.
Yeah.
I don't think Chris has ever surfed. Yeah, I don't think any of them, to be honest.
Man, definitely going down the gauntlet. Like you guys are going to have a trip one of these years, like where you're going to be at the beach. You're going to have to go challenge it now. And if any of them can surf. Yeah,
that'd be fun.
So there is a place I went to in southern New Mexico. I went to high school in a place called Alamogordo, and it's right by White Sands, and they got dunes of gypsum sand.
Oh yeah, I think
you can do sandboarding. So if you ever get a chance and you go down there, I need some video to see how good of a sandboarder you are. It's kind of a cross between the surfing and the skateboarding.
All right.
And if you pull it off, but if you fall on your face, if you embarrass yourself, I want to see that video too.
All right.
All right, so you were pretty good. Were you a good skateboarder too?
Yeah, I was pretty good skateboarder. I was definitely a better surfer, and I like surfing more, and I still surf to this day. I don't really skate as much. Just it's not as fun to me.
Have you been surfing like Tingley Beach here in Albuquerque or Elephant Butte Lake down in southern New Mexico? Like it's kind of not really any waves there, but you don't really have the water here like you do in San Diego. Have you been missing the water a little bit? I get Carl's back. I'm sorry, Carl's back.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I miss it. Just being able to,
it's been your life, man. Yeah.
Yeah, go jump in the ocean after a workout. There's nothing better than that.
All right, third question, and this is I ask whoever I'm interviewing to given that scouting report. All right, even though you know them well, and maybe it's a question that you just would want to know the answer to, maybe it's a question that you think would offer a little bit of insight to this person. But my question for you is this: when did you, and I will not tell you who this came from, when did you find out, when did you realize and come to the realization that you were not the best golfer in your family? I'll give you one bonus question or bonus opportunity to answer. Who did that question come from?
Man, only one person.
Well, it came from Tank, but Tank did get it from someone.
Oh, Tank?
Tank got it from someone. Somebody told Tank to ask me that. So if Tank got that question from somebody to ask you when you found out, and how did you feel when you found out that you're the second best golfer in the family?
Man, had to be little bro.
It is, yeah. Yeah, so your little bro gave us a little bit of little bro insight, and I feel bad a little bit even asking, because it sounds like he's concerned for you. Like he's a little worried that you might not he doesn't want to mess with your confidence while you're playing basketball for the Lobos. And maybe I shouldn't have brought it up, because he says you're having a hard time coming to grips with the fact that he's better than you at golf.
That's not true at all.
That's not true at all?
Nah, not at all.
How often do you and your brother play?
Man, in the summer we played a lot. He plays a lot. I can't really play as much anymore, but maybe like twice a week in the summer.
And if you played right now, would he get you?
No, definitely not.
All right.
Not even close. I'd have to get him some strokes.
All right. All right, man. Hey, look, I appreciate it, man. I am curious what you since we wind this up now, and now that you guys have taken a couple road trips, played a few games in the pit, you're back in the pit now. What's next for you, man? Like, what do you want Lobo fans to know, that not just that you're working on, but like the next phase, the next evolution, just only 3 weeks in? I know it's not like you've been here a long time, but 3 weeks into the season, what's the next step for Jake Hall and Lobo basketball?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to keep doing what I'm doing, but maybe at a higher, more efficient level. I think throughout the season I could definitely get to 50, 40, 90 plays, easily, and that's what I expect out of myself. So I would just say, keep doing what I'm doing more efficiently, and just doing whatever I need to win. I came here to win games and play in the tournament. That's what I want to do.
If you do win Mountain West Freshman of the Year, do you think that'll be better than beating your brother around a golf, or just it's kind of hard to know for sure which one's going to happen first? Or
Nah.
I'm putting you on the spot with both of them. It sounds like you're not worried about beating your brother at golf, though.
Nah, I'm not worried at all, honestly. I think that's crazy he said that. I think, I was not expecting that. That's a crazy statement.
I will give you an opportunity here. What do we need to know about your brother, who we don't know at all, but what do we need to know about your brother, since he felt the need to let us know that he was worried about your acceptance of golf?
Man, he's funny. He's a character. Super competitive. We're super competitive with each other.
Does he play basketball too?
Yeah, he's a senior at Santa Fe Christian High School. He's got his second game tonight, actually.
Okay.
So I'll be tuned into that. But he's funny, competitive. Man, he's very competitive. We get very competitive with each other, whatever it is.
And I'm thinking you're going to have a little talking with him after this.
Oh yeah, I'm surprised he didn't bring up the ping pong story.
What? How are you going to bring up the ping pong story and not expect me to ask? What's the ping pong story?
We've had some battles in the garage, ping pong battles.
Get pretty heated, huh?
Oh yeah, real heated. Tables getting snapped, paddles getting broken. It gets competitive in there, to say the least.
And he beats you at that, like he beat you at golf, or?
He doesn't beat me in golf, but he'll get me in ping pong. Actually, that's not true. He's got me once. He's beat me one time.
So you still got the big brother on him. You still beat him in everything more than he beats you.
Yeah, I'm not worried. Any sport, anytime.
See, little brother beats big brother once and always reminds him of it. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Jake, you're awesome, man. You guys, I know you got to go get some shots up, and I know you guys are back home tomorrow night for the game. So I appreciate you doing this, and keep it going, man. We'll talk a lot during the season.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, man. Appreciate it. All right, there you go. There's my conversation with Jake Hall. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you got to know a little bit more about the surfing, skateboarding, three-point shooting, all-around game having California kid Jake Hall, and getting to know some of these Lobo basketball players a little more. I know you guys have been asking for a little more of these, and hopefully we'll continue to roll them out. So it's 2 episodes this week, one with, like I said, Hoptum Samuel, the NCAA champion UNM Lobo cross-country runner, and then this episode with Jake Hall. And I know you guys, the numbers are showing you guys are loving these podcasts when they come out, both audio, especially audio, but also on video on the YouTube as well, on the Journal's YouTube page. So hit subscribe if you can, leave some comments, all that good stuff. You guys are helping us out when you do those things. Rate, subscribe, all that stuff, but also to the Albuquerque Journal. abqjournal.com/subscribe is how you can help us out there. Subscribe to the digital products, subscribe to the print product. However you do it, it's helping all of the products, and that includes just general coverage of Lobo basketball like I get to do. So I'm a lucky guy to do it, but it's because of people like you subscribing, and I appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed this conversation with Jake Hall today, and until next time, thanks for coming along.